with 3 WWE stars likely to return soon and an update on Keith Lee heading to AEW. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for February 4th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With him challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash last year, Cesaro had one of his best performances in WWE. While he would come up short, he told Sports Illustrated that he'd love a rematch. "I'm very proud of that match against Roman. Not many people expected it to go almost 30 minutes, and our pace was one that surprised people. I wish it took place in front of fans. That's what made my career. Fans have always had my back, so I wish we could run it back in front of fans." With him impressing many with his in-ring debut and subsequent matches, Hook has become a fast-rising star in AEW. Talking about this on the Keeping It 100 podcast, Disco Inferno would criticize the promotion for booking Hook in the same manner as his father, Taz. He is just not Taz. He is a kid cosplaying Taz, and he doesn't look anything like Taz. It is honestly ridiculous to push a guy in the same manner as his dad, when his dad's body composition is completely different than his son's. Taz is stocky, he has a short neck, and is powerful. Hook looks like Jungle Boy. That's what these guys should be doing. All these kids need to fight each other over girls. Despite many claiming Vince McMahon is not a fan of tag team wrestling, there is one tandem that he stopped from being broken up. Speaking to Mark Andrews, Matt Riddle touched on the WWE chairman preventing his team with Randy Orton from coming to an end. Teaming with Randy Orton, it was supposed to be one time. He was supposed to turn on me on night one. Then Vince, the crowd, and everybody liked it so much. They were like, "Are you guys willing to see if this works?" I was like, "Yeah, we liked working with each other. We were friendly." Randy was gone for like 3 months and I just kept the team afloat, always talking about Randy. I was always talking about Randy and they were like, "He'll be back soon." I had no idea when he was coming back. With RKBRO looking to regain their Raw tag team straps, we'll have to see if they can get through the Alpha Academy. NXT champion Bron Breakker has become a breakout star for the brand, as many are excited to see what he can do on the main roster. According to Meltzer, there was a discussion about Breakker being in the Royal Rumble and having a spot with Dolph Ziggler to promote NXT, but ultimately those plans would be dropped, with it decided that no one from NXT would be involved in the Rumble. Since then, Ziggler has hinted at going after the NXT title, so this feud could still take place. Shelton Benjamin may be best known for his work with Charlie Haas as the world's greatest tag team, as he recently told Wrestling Inc. that he'd be open to having another run. Of course, Charlie is one of my best friends. He's one of my brothers. While he disappeared from the public eye, me and him have always been in contact and have been very, very close. So the desire to be able to work together again, of course, that has never gone away. So if the opportunity presents itself, I would love to team with Charlie again, and wreck shop and be the world's greatest tag team again, and take on the world. After losing his WWE title at the Day 1 pay-per-view, Big E is now back with his New Day stablemates on Friday nights, as Meltzer believes this is a sign that his run as a singles competitor is at an end. Big E being moved to SmackDown permanently and put back with the New Day as a tag team looks to have ended his push as a singles champion level guy. The plan on SmackDown was to put him in with the New Day, and he wasn't brought over specifically to be an opponent for Reigns, although obviously that could still happen, simply due to the fact Reigns constantly will need new opponents over the next year and they have depth issues when it comes to challengers, and he at least was on top for much of 2021, so has some singles main event credibility. The man formerly known as Karrion Kross in WWE is set to make his return to action when he faces Flip Gordon tomorrow for WrestlePro in New Jersey. Talking to CBS Sports, Kross touched on potentially making the move to AEW, as he said, "For me, I feel like the fit would be just as identically good before I signed with WWE as it would be now, because I am always looking to integrate and create things that are not present within the programming. I don't say that in a derogatory way. I just mean that typically how I approach things is, I look at what's on the show, I look at how everyone is introducing ideas and concepts into the programming, and I go, what's something that I can do that no one else is doing?" During that same interview, Kross would recall his time on NXT, where he was a main event star and champion. He would note that Triple H never played favorites backstage. "To me, he is a natural leader. He was not someone who ever had to raise his voice. He's not someone who ever had to get angry for people to listen to him. He was a person where I would come into work and he would be completely focused with each and every person he was working with. I never saw him play favorites." With her previously giving thanks to Ember Moon for helping her prepare for her WWE return, the Women's Royal Rumble winner Ronda Rousey has her sights set on a championship match at WrestleMania. On top of that, she is expected to be involved in not only this year's Mania, but the one next year as well. Speaking about the former UFC champion, Dave Meltzer would note that WWE gave a ring to Rousey so she could train from home. She's also apparently been to Orlando to train at one point, as we'll have to see what's next for her. Given all the reported last-minute changes that took place prior to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, stars in the company are said to be frustrated due to this. According to Fightful, there has been low morale since that event, from those that are not on television to consistent main eventers. It would additionally be noted that one longtime talent said that nothing matters, outside of 4 people maybe, as the vibe that they get. Over a half dozen main roster talent pointed to issues with continuity, and nobody else being designed to do anything. Several talent have felt like they're without a voice and are reduced to making pleas on social media. With him entering the bout at number 30 and winning the whole match, Brock Lesnar has not only earned himself a shot at a world title at WrestleMania, but he broke a couple of company records as well. It was noted in the Observer that Lesnar had the least amount of time in the ring as a Rumble winner at 2 minutes and 32 seconds, and has the most years between winning the match from 2003 to 2022. Lesnar is also 9th in career eliminations, with him throwing out 29 superstars over his Rumble appearances. When it comes to the upcoming Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, Roman Reigns could be squaring off against a legend he was supposed to face at WrestleMania 36, as Fightful reported that the working plan is for Bill Goldberg to return to WWE imminently. The working plan has been for Goldberg to work the upcoming Elimination Chamber event in Saudi Arabia. With Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble and making it known that he wants to regain his WWE Championship from Lashley so he can face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in a title unification bout, Meltzer would say that the WWE chairman is leaning towards this idea as well. The feeling internally was Vince was leaning in the direction of title versus title, which would mean the originally planned WWE title match, whatever it would have been, is now off. With her being injured in July, Bayley was expected to be out for 9 months, with her needing reconstructive knee surgery. Back in August, a report came out regarding Asuka not being used but was clear to compete. Yet Asuka would claim that was false, which means she could have been injured. Regardless, Dave Meltzer said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that both are expected to return in the next few months, as they are targeted to be ready for WrestleMania. It was reported by Fightful that WWE felt Asuka would not be physically ready to return during the Royal Rumble. As for Bayley, she gave an update in December saying that she's doing great. Speaking of returns, Lacey Evans has not been seen on WWE programming in nearly a year, with her taking time off due to pregnancy. Dave Meltzer would report that she is probably going to make her comeback in the near future, as he noted. Also likely back soon is Lacey Evans, who had been training for her return. Evans, 31, gave birth to her second child in October, which was 3.5 months ago, so returning this week would have been pushing it. With former WWE star Keith Lee recently taking to Twitter to let fans know that he is a free agent, Meltzer has pointed out that AEW has been talking to Lee for a while. A number of WWE talents who were fired in early November are now free to start working elsewhere. Keith Lee is on that list, and we're told that he's been talked about for here, if not has already agreed to a deal here. Lee was one of the most impressive wrestlers on the independent scene, doing a hard-hitting and high-flying style, neither of which is favored in WWE. He had trouble early on in NXT, but eventually became one of its most popular wrestlers. He struggled with stop and start booking on the main roster until COVID, and heart issues stemming from COVID put him on the shelf most of last year. He was 33 when he signed with WWE, but is 37 now. For a guy of his size, speed, and injuries become more of a factor getting older. The Lee of 2018, I'd call a hire with great potential for AEW, because he's got all the charisma and the size and athletic talent. In 2022, it's possible he could still be a great hire, but there are question marks. With this news, the Limitless One would be trending on Twitter as fans are ready to see him make his AEW debut. WWE is going to regret letting the awesome Keith Lee go. What a bunch of idiots. Keith Lee deserves AEW and they deserve him. I'll tell you what everybody in the IWC should be talking about is if Keith Lee is rumored to have signed with AEW, this is a major loss for WWE. This is going to be a huge talking point for everybody in the wrestling community. I am hoping for the best because I've been waiting for Keith Lee to join AEW. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.